to a place where you belong. Give you strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. Did anybody notice the new intro there? It's got the new shirt. Thank you very, very much. Honestly, our viewers are incredible. They really do. They give us all the help that we possibly need. Not sure where Billy is. I think he's fallen asleep, as he normally does. The heat's obviously got to him. Tonight we're doing, it's not quite a fan forum. We've totally revamped it, actually, because obviously we used to get everybody on at once and have a little conversation for an hour or so, but we're doing it differently now, where we're getting you on individually to come on with us, have a chat for about 5 or 6 minutes, make your points, and then we move on to the next person. It gives everybody an opportunity to say what they want to say and move on. And it's a better system of doing it, and it gives us a lot better info from you as to what you guys want to talk about, instead of just everybody talking over each other. It just didn't work. So this is the new format, and it's called Face the Lads, because obviously you're facing me and Alex, and normally Billy, if he hadn't fallen asleep on his couch. James Welsh, thank you for being a member for 12 months, buddy. Glad to be a member this long. Wouldn't support any other channel. Do you guys think there's a lack of communication in midfield with Toon Army not being English? Interesting one, Alex, but I think I don't foresee that being a major problem moving forward. You're on mute, mate.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting point, and it might be correct in certain situations. I don't know if it's correct in our situation, because, I mean, if you put Longstaff back in the lineup, Bruno and Joelinton aren't native speakers of English, so it doesn't change anything.
They're decent English speakers now, though. Toon Army,
in all honesty,
as well.
I feel like Bruno and Toon Army probably understand each other better, because,
Yeah. But I mean, look,
they seem to be
Toon Army's
quite tight,
learning
actually.
English, and he's getting, English is not a hard language to learn. Let's be honest. It is for some people who are actually English, but for most people,
having lived in Spain as a kid, I can tell you that to a level, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah. You all know whether you want the ball to pass, to make a run. It's just there. I've been there in a foreign country where I don't speak the language, I'm learning it. And football is an international language. It really is. Yeah. Unless you start to get really nitty gritty with tactics, like it's fine.
Would you like to? The link is pinned at the top of the chat, guys. So if you want to come on, you don't have to be on camera. You can just have your microphone on if that's what you'd rather do. Just click the link. That'll take you into StreamYard, into the green room, and you just queue up. We've got 3 waiting at the minute, so plenty space available if you want to get on and queue up. You will get your opportunity. Like I say, you don't have to have the camera on. You can just have your microphone on and have a chat with us if that's what you'd rather do. So don't be afraid to come on and think, oh, I've got to go on camera. You haven't. As long as your mic's there, it's fine. We'll start straight away. But before we do, don't forget, hit that like button, guys, if you do enjoy tonight's show. And, of course, if you're new and like what you see, please do subscribe. We are less than 40 away from 23,000. We are getting there. It is going up. But with your help, we can get there even quicker. So if you're new, hit subscribe, free to do so. And, of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or upload any videos. If you want to take part in the conversation tonight but don't want to come on, you can donate to the channel by hitting the super chat. That'll take you through to a payment method, but you'll also get your comment read out straight away as well. And of course, you can become a member of the Toon Review if you hit that join button just underneath the me and him at the minute. And we have members prizes coming up this week as well. I have been delving into the Toon Review bag of goodies and see what we have available. Those people that won prizes way back in the 20K show and recently won football shirts and things like that, they have all been dispatched. So they are on their way to you. You should receive them within a couple of days. Right, we'll bring our first one on, and God help us all. Good evening, Jimmy.
I missed you guys.
Hey, how you doing, my American brother?
You're hot. How are you guys doing?
We're all right. Listen, we will bring you back on one of the shows very shortly when we find out what the new format of the new show is going to be. But we will be doing a sort of around the world show, and you're going to be part of that. So don't worry about that. Yeah. Right, we may as well dive straight in, Jimmy. I imagine you've got a lot to say about what's been going on.
Dude, I'd just like to know when our fan base became so damn entitled. My God. You would swear that we'd be Champions League qualifiers for years now. And it's like, guys, it's a project. We had some bad games. It's the beginning of the season. Nobody's had a rougher schedule than us. Let Eddie and everyone figure it out. Jesus Christ. I mean, there's just a certain part of the fan base that I wish would just go to Sunderland. That's
I completely agree with you, Jimmy. Everything you said. Completely agree.
Oh, I'm gonna go off subject for a second, but Alex, what kind of dog do you have?
A Samoyed.
Beautiful dog. We just had a big Great Pyrenees party over here. It's a beautiful dog. But back to these fuck ups in the damn fan base.
But a black and white dog. It's got to be black and white. Got to be on brand.
God almighty.
I mean, obviously, you know, we do. I mean, the fan base itself, I've done a video today. I don't know whether you've seen that one yet, but I did a video explaining, you know, our fans overreacting and expecting too much too early because of simply what happened last season. And, you know, you take a sort of step back after a couple of days and you look back and you think, right, you know, was I right with what I said in my reaction? But that's exactly what they are, the reactionary, the raw. You take a bit of time out and you look back and you think, right, you know, what will Eddie be thinking? You know, things like that. I mean, what did you think of the display? Are you worried about the lack of intensity that was showed or didn't show?
No, I mean, like I said, it's the first of the season. The schedule was hard. We got to remember, Eddie's learning with these guys. Eddie's never been in this situation.
Yeah.
He's never had big time players to deal with. He's never had European competitions to deal with. And it's a process. And the funny thing is you see people on social media, one day they'll be like, just follow the process. Next thing you know, they're calling for Miggy's head. Bruno's lost it. Pope's garbage. I mean, we could be Man U right now with a team full of domestic abusers. Your captain getting headbutted. Your coach throwing players under the bus. Sancho on social media taking a dig at the manager. I mean, guys, chill out. We've got a nice little run of games where we're going to pick up points. I want to see the new signings in just as much as everyone else. And when Eddie thinks they're ready, we'll be fine. And this is coming from somebody who overreacts about every fucking thing.
I've never noticed that, Jimmy. I've never noticed.
Oh, goddamn. It's not goats, chickens, dogs, it's cars. I mean, so that's my 5 to 6 minutes. I just wanted to get back with the guys. Miss you guys. Thanks for all well wishes, Paul. I know we've been talking back and forth.
Yeah, we have.
It seems like I've turned the corner on some of my medical issues.
You're looking healthier, Jimmy. You are looking healthier, mate, and that's a good sign. That's good to see. But like, I'll be in touch with you, mate, and we'll get you. You know, when we do this, I'm working on a new show which I want to involve international fans. So you'll be part of that definitely. So we will see you very soon, brother.
All right, love you guys.
You stay safe and stay healthy, bud.
Everybody,
to me.
Take care. Good evening, Billy Bob.
Hello.
Was the heat knocking you out again today?
I haven't been to work. I've been to the doctors. I've got my results of my blood test back.
All right. How did that go?
Not too good.
You're not Mackham, are you?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I do have a lack of certain things.
Okay.
Calcium and vitamin D mainly. So I went the week on the sick.
Oh well. Okay. Well, yeah. Another week on the sick to enjoy this. The Indian summer, Billy. Nice one.
Absolutely.
One.
Can I just give a shout out to Mother Stato as well, who is watching and has asked for a shout out. So,
Mother Stato, my favourite other mother. Thank you for being a fan, and I love your mum, Alex. I think she's. When you meet Alex's mum, you would not believe she is Alex's mum because she is just so outgoing, funny. Not that I'm saying you're not funny, Alex, but I mean, she's got a brilliant personality. She's great to spend time with.
I've got an absolute killer here, but I just can't. It would be too harsh.
Please don't. Just don't go there. I'm
in
a good mood, Alex.
Mine was a West Ham fan, so we'll leave it there.
Okay.
Charlton.
But yeah, she's fabulous. So she looked after me and Phoebe when we came down to Northampton. Had a meal, brilliant. And it was lovely. Anyway, next up is Ben Smith. Ben, are you there?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good.
Okay, so Saturday's been and gone. Have you had a chance to sort of have a think about, where you stand as a fan now? What were you wanted? Well, obviously, I don't think you were, but what did you think of the people wanting Eddie Howe out and things like that?
I think the fan base needs to calm down because it's a hard first run of games.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we should have bought defenders. That's what I think. Looking at that game, because Dan Burns Shaw gave away too many fouls.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Billy, you've mentioned that, haven't you? You've mentioned that, Billy, numerous times that centre back seem to be, a lot of people. I made a comment in the video today about, the reason we were so happy about Livramento is because we were thinking, Billy, that we were going to sign a centre back.
Absolutely. And once we didn't, that right back that was amongst four of the right backs, it seemed we didn't need a right back. We needed a centre back to cover the three that we have, or four that we have.
I agree. And I don't know why we're buying Hall and Livramento, but we're playing Matt Target. Doesn't make sense.
Are you happy with the squad after the transfer window, Ben? Are you happy with who we got? Do you think
I'm happy with the signings, happy with the squad, but I think we could have done with another centre back.
And were
especially
you
with Botman being injured.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a report today saying that Botman might not make the Brentford game, even though he's put a thing out saying back soon, and shares a doubt for the game as well.
Willock's out injured for longer as well, apparently.
Another 6 weeks for Willock. So the injuries are taking its toll, but we got away with them last season, didn't we, Alex? You mentioned that a few times, that we got away with the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, Botman, Cher, and Trippier, I think all of them got close to 37. I think they played 37 Premier League fixtures, which is, I mean, there's 38 total. So we couldn't have got, and I think the only reason they didn't play all of them is because we didn't need them in the final game of the season. So I think we dropped Trippier for the final game because we didn't need to play him. If I remember rightly, I can't remember who we played or what, but I think we dropped him because we didn't need him. So yeah, we got super lucky, and we've rolled the dice on doing that again with more fixtures this year as well. On top of that, with Champions League, so it's not just more fixtures; it's more fixtures that are also very difficult, the highest level. So we've rolled the dice, and I don't feel like we've got the odds really. It was a real tricky gamble, and it looks like it's failing already 4 games in, which is, I mean, it could be fine, but.
I mean, Ben, where do you stand? I'll ask you the same as I asked Jimmy before. Were you surprised at the lack of intensity on Saturday night?
Yeah, because we're a team that likes to press, but that game was not good enough. Especially from the midfield. I think Tonali was the only one that played all right in that game.
Mm-hmm. And what about the
injured?
Yeah,
I think Joe Linton's definitely injured. He's not fit. He needs to be dropped for the next game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if he's not fit, I mean, we need a fit Joe Linton, don't we, Billy? Who's going to, we know a fit Joe Linton sort of leads the team in the physicality of everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, he brings a lot to the table, doesn't he? He's not just that tank of a man that he is. He's also got technique to his game. If he's not fit, you don't get any of that. You've got a passenger, and we had that Saturday. Didn't we? We had it the week before, to be fair, as well, at a certain point of the game. and against Man City.
Can I mention this press that Ben brought up as well?
Yeah.
It's worth noting as well. Obviously, the press wasn't great. However, you do have to play a little bit differently against Brighton because Brighton will entice you onto the ball. You know, there was a lot of videos about the way they played last season with this whole studs on the ball, and they will sit there on the ball and entice you on and try and play through you because they're very good at their passing networks. So I think it was a combination of us. We weren't playing our usual game on purpose, pressing wise, but then whatever it was we tried to do was also terrible. So it was. I think it was both factors. You know, you can't press Brighton normally because they will shred you to pieces. Yeah. But then whatever we did just was awful.
I think in general against Brighton, the past 3 or 4 years we've played them, we've let them play in the first 2/3 of the field and then picked them up from deep, haven't we? It didn't work yet on Saturday because the defence and the midfield were that wide open. They just played straight through us. You know, it was dead easy to get through. So
yeah. Paul Sprague says young Murphy's injured as well. Yeah, I read that today. Alex Murphy's gone down with an injury. Agent Tech Stream says, been reported we are looking at free agents. I mean, John makes a good point here, Ben. Would you take Sergio Ramos, who is a free agent right now?
He has a lot of experience, but he can't play week in, week out. That's the problem. And with Botman injured and Danby and Shaw not playing amazing, we need someone that'll play.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, how are you looking? Do you think the international breaks come at the right time? Do you think we'll start picking up?
Yeah, I think it's came at the right time, and then I think we will beat Milan. I think we will, and then we'll get our form back.
There's an awful lot of confidence going around about the Milan game, but then we do tend to. Apparently, Ramos has gone to Sevilla, so he's off the market now. So
damn it! I was just looking at his stats. His passes are actually really good considering how old he is.
Yeah. Well, too late. He's gone to Sevilla, so he's gone. Ben, thank you very much for coming on, buddy, and you're welcome back next week. This is a weekly thing now, so we'll see you soon, mate.
Cheers, Ben.
Good night. So that was Ben. Next up, we have James.
Hey, how we doing, boys?
We're all right. You sound like you're in the back of Timbuktu.
I'm in my works van down in London at the moment.
All right, on hands free.
Yeah,
good. Right, do you want to sum up your thoughts regarding the Brighton defeat?
It was bad, wasn't it? Really, to be honest. And I just feel that I want to throw another argument in that I haven't heard yet. Do you think,
James? This isn't going to get Alex throwing raw steaks at you, is it? Just be careful.
No. It's. I'm trying to be good with Alex. I'm trying to be good because I've disagreed with him lots lately. But Alex has his opinion, I have mine. So that's
exactly
right. No, what I want to throw in is with Eddie being such a perfectionist, right? With fitness and things like that. Do you think And with the comments when he first come back, he said that the lads have never come back any fitter. And do you think he's pushing them a bit too hard? And they're just running out of steam at the end of the week come match day. Because it just looks to me that our press, our just general fitness in the game is nowhere near what it was last year. And I think that's a lot to do with it. I do. I just think that the players that we've got in, I don't think Joe Linton's fit. I don't like in the way I think he's carrying something. So what if he is carrying something, if that's true, we've got such a good young laddie there with Lewis Miley who shone out everyone in pre-season. Why not blood the young lad just at the start of the season if someone's just not quite 100%?
Yeah.
Why not throw him in?
Alex,
but that's Eddie's decision, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Alex, we'll get your opinion in a second. I just want to pick up on this. Anthony says, I watched your watch-alongs and a lot of shouting and naughty words. It's called passionate and being a fan. Thank you. Paul Tully says, is Philip Albert keeping fit these days? Hey,
no.
Well, not recently. Alex, do you want to go off what James has just said there?
Yeah, I mean, I might surprise a few of you in the chat here, but I completely agree with James. Like, there is no way. Right, if you want to argue with me, that is the perfect way because he's given a nice theory, he's explained it. I can't disprove that. It might be right. I don't know. I don't have access to the sports science data. It very well could be correct. Are they being pushed too hard? You know, was the preseason too intense? Have we played too many games? Workload. You know, there's so much you can factor in that we're not privy to that data. He could be right. I mean, again, if you want to make
too,
points,
wasn't there was a short close season as well.
It was, Billy,
Finished later. We've had less of a time in between seasons.
Exactly.
Players played in
no
European
secret.
under 21s. Maybe that's why it's taking Tonali off early, because
I mean, James,
James,
is there any particular players that you've been disappointed with so far? I mean, it's very early days, but
the whole of the midfield, to be honest with you. But you know, there's been good things with Tonali, but you know, I'm more disappointed in that Trippier is not letting them do more fixed plays. You know, with free kicks and things like that, and you know, I'm a bit bored with Trippier, to be honest. With when he's on the ball now a bit, I think.
So you would like to see Tonali take more set pieces, things like that.
Yeah, I think even if they just went, you take one, I take one, or something like that. Let's just find out who works best for the team. That's what I think, because I just don't think it's working with Trippier 100% of the time.
We've said that before, Billy, haven't we? About changing it up a little bit, even during the commentaries. Just
I think it's predictable.
Mix and match a little bit. Yeah,
it's odd because I think they let Matt Target take one the other week when he come on a sub. You know, he took him into with his left foot. So yeah, it's strange. Tonali's a must.
The other thing that I'm disappointed in is that we haven't seen. I know that they're trying to say that Hall's not fit enough, but he's 18-year-old. I think he would be fit enough for half an hour, 45 minutes. You know, like he's such a good, keen young lad. Yeah. Or Livramento, who allegedly can play either or, left or right back. Why haven't we seen them? You know,
it would be nice to see them.
The back end of 70 million, nearly 70 million pound on two players.
Yeah.
And when we're not working right, we're not ticking. So why hasn't he just went, oh, well, we'll just throw the young lad in for half an hour at the back end of the game?
There's got to be a reason, isn't there? I mean, if you use the logic of your first point, there's got to be a reason.
There's got to be. You know, it's just why. We've got all these players at the back here. But on good points, what do you think of Anthony Gordon? I'm absolutely over the moon with him.
Yeah,
isn't he? I mean, proud as punch. You know, when he come in January, everyone was on his back a little bit, weren't they? And I was just thinking, we've bought him for a reason, you know. And then he's went away doing the England's under 21, and he's come back an absolute star.
So, the final question to you, James, are you confident of Eddie and the lads turning this around very quickly?
No, I've got no doubt they'll turn it around.
Yep, brilliant.
But
James,
but we've just got to be patient. But we are going to be voicing our opinions, aren't we? Or this is no good because we're not seeing the effort.
Yeah,
like Liverpool, when we're against 10 men, we didn't see the effort at all with Liverpool, I don't think.
Fair enough.
But anyway,
James, thanks for coming on, buddy. See you next time, Goody. Good night. So that was James from his van in London. By the way, I've just seen a very funny comment from Annie regarding our good Sir Alex there. Annie says, Alex is like an English teacher. Needs a point, evidence, and then an explanation, and you'll succeed.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's proof that I'm willing to entertain anybody's opinion. If you give it a bit of substance and explain it, I literally can't disagree with James there because I don't have the evidence. It's a valid point.
I feel the same, to be honest. You know, it's a very feasible point.
I'd like to think it's not true because I would like to put faith in the sports scientists, in the workload management.
Yeah,
you know, these guys get paid a lot of money.
That's something Eddie will look at with his coaching staff, won't he? I mean, you know. Right, next up is we've got Colby. Are you there, Colby? Right, next up is Colby.
No,
he's gone. I think he panicked there. Next up, we have G. Smith. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, loud and clear. How are you doing?
Right. I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
Where are you calling from?
Near Swindon.
Wow. Okay. So a long way down south. But Newcastle fan, I believe?
Yes. I used to live in Gateshead. So
well, there you are. There you are.
That's why I support. Is it all right if I ask Alex a question?
Of course it is, yeah. It's the floor is yours.
I'm just asking for your opinion. I'd noticed in that Brighton game, I think with 2 of the 3 Evan Ferguson goals, we gave him so much time to shoot. And I think playing Burn it might be because we played Burn at centre back and he's played left back all season. He wasn't quite used to stepping up. I was just wondering, why have we given him that much time to shoot? Because that doesn't normally happen with our defence.
And I think you know the answer to that question. You've just given the answer in the question. It's Dan Burn, not being used to playing that role. I mean, that's why Billy specifically went in so hard on him playing as a centre half. He's not used to it at the moment. And to be completely honest, when he played that stint as centre half in Eddie Howe's first season, we conceded sort of quite a lot of goals through his mistakes as a left-sided centre half.
Yeah, is that Chelsea last minute one?
Yeah, there was a few that were quite similar, to be fair. And additionally, I think it was the midfield not quite linking right, so there was too much space in between the lines, and then the centre half not stepping up. It was two things. I mean, this is what we mentioned in the review. There were like 5 or 6 things going wrong at the same time in different areas of the pitch, and it all contributed to things like that. That's why it made it right. Evan Ferguson is an incredible talent, and I don't want to take away anything from his goals, but we really gave him the platform to score those goals.
Yeah,
we gave him all the time in the world, as well as all the space in the world, as well as a goalkeeper who is not currently confident. We pretty much gave him everything. And then all he had to do was make sure he hit them strong and true, and he got his goals. We'll be fine. We're not going to play Burn as a left-sided centre half very often this season, as long as Botman isn't permanently injured.
What is your name, by the way? Is it Gary?
It's George. I don't know why I stand as G Smith. My bad.
Well, I can't keep calling you G Smith. George, were you disappointed that we didn't bring in another centre back?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think I don't get. I'm happy. Lascelles. I know it's controversial. I'm perfectly happy with him playing.
Right.
He played against City or something last season, and I thought he played really well, even though we lost. And people saying with the substitutions, like sub on Lewis Hall, sub on Livramento, is it worth subbing on a fullback when we could replace a midfield, replace an attacker, which has a lot more impact on the game?
Yeah,
I mean, the only time George has subbed on Livramento was on the right wing against Man City away.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it?
It didn't really happen, did it? Because it didn't spark anything, and it certainly didn't change the way we play. But I'll ask you, as I've asked the others, George, the intensity that we showed last season, it was there in bits, I guess, against Villa. Certainly on the counter attack and things like that. But the rest of it, it just has. Are you concerned?
Slightly, only because I think last season there wasn't really any pressure. It was just like fight up the table, do better than last season, and everyone's happy. Whereas I think this season, the media, everyone's like, there's no way they don't get top 4 again. There's no way they don't get top 6. And they're probably going into games like with a lot more pressure than last year because they feel they have to, when in reality, Liverpool, man, we never beat Liverpool, even though obviously we're 10 men. We should have beaten them, but we never normally beat them. Man City, Etihad, we never win. Brighton, we never really had a good record against up until last season.
Yeah,
I think the pressure's way too much, and I'm perfectly confident we'll turn it around.
So, I mean, what would be a successful season for you, George?
Oh, just Europe again. Honestly, top 7, I'd be buzzing with.
So, final question to you, just what I did the video on today. Do you think a lot of Newcastle United fans, are expecting a little bit too much?
Yeah, I think they've achieved impossible by getting Champions League. But I think last season we got to take into account Liverpool massively underperformed. Yeah. Chelsea were nowhere near on it. Tottenham fell off. Like, I'm not saying we were lucky, but we utilised that. Whereas a lot of these teams have improved this season already, and we're going to really see where we stand in the table this season.
But you're very confident of turning this around, yeah? After the
break? I mean, if you see our run of fixtures till Arsenal, it should be a lot of 3 points. It should.
And of course, we've got Champions League and Man City in the Carabao all coming up.
I was going to ask you, do we just bin off the Carabao? You reckon?
Well, I know
Eddie Howe
Adam was,
doesn't spin off
Adam was
anything.
talking about that on his video
Yeah,
today.
that's
Funny
the
enough, and I kind of agreed with him because we're not at that squad level. He was mentioning, we don't have the squad of a Manchester City yet, which we are building to in the future. So you kind of
it's
think
irrelevant
yourself,
what we think because
it's all
irrelevant
down
what
to
we think or say.
what
'Cause Eddie Howe
wants.
is going to try and play the strongest team he can every single game.
Absolutely.
That's the issue.
But
Do you remember-
it will
do you
give some of the youngsters a chance, Billy.
Yeah, so, I mean, Southampton managed to knock them out last
They
year.
did indeed.
so
They did.
it's
And I
not
remember
impossible.
Alan Pardew trying to throw a game against Man City in the same cup and winning at the Etihad.
Yeah.
We won at the Etihad. Yeah, that was crazy. Listen, George, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully get yourself back on next week.
I will. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Thanks,
George.
buddy. Good night.
Yeah.
So that was George. We've got Ryan on now. Good evening, Ryan.
Hey guys, so
Just 2 seconds, buddy. Mark Dawson, I know he's been trying to get on the stream, but his internet's been a bit dodgy. He asked a question, just chucking it out there. Do you think the new rule with Tyndall is affecting Eddie a bit?
No, because he can always go back to him if he needs to, can't he? But
Yeah.
it's not stopping Eddie Howe from going back to the bench and speaking to Jason Tyndall as and when he wants. And plus, I'm sure I've seen Jason Tyndall standing with him and no one's had a blind bit of notice of it.
Yeah, I think he comes up and has a chat and then he goes back, doesn't he? I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
that a few times. Ryan, what do you reckon about this training? Because there is a few people in the chat thinking maybe that the intensity of Eddie Howe's training is just catching up with the lads a little bit. Because as Billy alluded to, the season was a short summer, so they haven't really had the breaks that they used to, and straight back into the intensity.
yeah, I don't think they're tired. Maybe they just got to get back to the intensity more. But they had all preseason for it. But I think eventually they'll get in the swing of things, and like our midfield won't look as kind of like lethargic. There'll be more energy and there'll be more energy in our midfield going in. But like I just want to come off my points I got here. So like I think with fan expectation, where it's coming from the media saying, and like people giving out, like for me, this whole thing about Champions League attracts the best players in the world is complete nonsense to me. Like, look at the players that we've got without Champions League and other clubs that have got it without Champions League. Like, I wrote down here, like
Chelsea.
and N'Golo Kante, Aubameyang, Pogba, Ibrahimovic, Odegaard, Guimaraes, Ballman, Trippier. They all came to the Premier League and to our clubs, to Newcastle and the other clubs, without Champions League football. And this transfer window for me suggests that we're not ready to compete just yet for, title that some fans are thinking of now. And but at the same time, like another point here too that I got is that like, if we're trying to maintain our level for like, not like just not maintain, but I'd say like maybe get like 5th to 8th every season. Like what happens to players like, like Ballman, Bruno, Tonali, and Isak? Because like if the objective is just to qualify for Champions League, like in the next 3 years, and there's no, like we get dumped out of cup competitions, like eventually big clubs are going to come in for these players, and like they might turn their heads and say we're out. And you look at like 10 years ago too, where Man City were doing that with Arsenal, buying the likes of Nasri, Sanya. So I think we got to have a balance of we need to maintain our level, but at the same
Watch
time,
it, Ryan. Alex is ready on that button to start talking. I don't know what.
Go on, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Bro. All right. So you've just who did you list off? Botman, Bruno, Tonali, Isak, and then you referenced 3 years, right?
Yeah.
In less than 3 years, probably half of that, we're going to have another set of players that good in the squad all again.
Okay.
That's based on the transfers.
So,
like that's going to happen. Look at the Adidas sponsorship. We're going to go out and buy. We'll go and buy more of these players. So it's fine.
So okay, yeah, but I'm just hoping that we don't keep
It's not
buying
it.
just for the future.
Like we get more windows. It's going to open again. It's fine.
You've said yourself, Ryan, that Spurs have gone and bought Maddison, players of that ilk. Chelsea have bought a gazillion players that are world class. It's not going to harm us if we're not in Champions League.
You've got to remember
we may
that
lose players we have.
players.
We may lose players we have. We may lose the odd player that want to play Champions League there and then. But we'll attract a shitload more, so it's not going to be that bad.
And there's a few players close to needing a reset as well. Fabian Schär, Callum Wilson, Nick Pope, all in their 30s. Burn as well. So
Mm.
you would imagine there's going to be 4 or 5 replacements of them in the next, you would imagine, 3 years. Could probably a bit sooner.
Yeah,
maybe not with Nick Pope, because goalkeepers were a little bit different. It depends.
So you think this would be like the one transfer window where it's like more buying for the future and like, you know, replacement like for like quality, like Barnes for ASM. So in the next windows, we'll actually go and splash like 50 to 100 million on a superstar.
I think what you can expect is that in future windows, we will spend more money because we've got a bigger income coming in. So we'll be
Like so
covering
far,
FFP.
I think people like mentioned Livermental not starting. I think that's a valid point because we got Trippier. He's an established right back. Yes, he's 32 and like, but there's Champions League games and cup games coming up. Well, we'll be playing twice a week. As soon as that AC Milan game's coming on, we're going to be playing twice a week, like all the way up until Christmas.
Yeah.
So, and the Lewis Hall one's a bit confusing so far. Like, I think after what Matt Target displayed on Brighton, this guy needs to start now.
I think we'll see Lewis well before we see Livermento.
Yeah.
I agree. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put out a prediction here. I honestly think that Lewis Hall is going to get at least 20 appearances in all competitions this season. Because as soon as he gets in the side, he's going to be difficult to remove. Livermento, obviously, a little bit more challenging because of Trippier. So it will only be a rotation.
I'm not even just saying, like, let's keep playing Target. Like, Lewis Hall needs to come in too, because from what I saw at PSG yesterday, they overload the shit out of their right side. So our left side. So we're going to have our players on par and, you know, be locked in for PSG at home because they're going to be coming at us on our left side with Hakimi, Dembele, and Mbappe dropping in. So, like, you know, the time will come and it'll be perfect. It will be perfect timing, I think, for someone like Hall to come in.
And finally, Ryan, do you think we will turn it around after this international break?
Yeah, 100%. I think. I think it's just the midfield. I think just needs more. It means no more about it because it seems a bit slow, and I don't think Bruno's really been at his best either. So, but I expect that to like turn around. So, like, you know, like he's a professional player. Like, you're allowed to have some setbacks, so he'll come back and be at that level we expect him to be at.
Okay.
Right, you mentioned a slow midfield. Can I just say one thing? You mentioned a slow midfield. Is anybody else surprised by how fast Tonali is? I think he's really quick. He's quicker
I'm not really
than
surprised. I think he's got a good engine on him. Yeah.
But sometimes he's making a recovery run against a winger or a fullback, and he's visibly faster. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy's really fast.
Yeah,
like,
maybe there's only so much you could see on the TV as well. Like,
Ryan, thanks for coming on, buddy, and making those points. We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there, buddy.
Cheers, Ryan.
Good night. So that was Ryan over in Canada. Sharky, good evening, matey. Sharky's just sent us a message. Good pal of mine at the matches. He sent me a video. They're currently sitting in the living room watching us on the big TV, and their rabbit, Bruno, is lying watching us. He's lying with his legs backwards and looking up, watching us on TV. So good evening, Bruno the rabbit.
We've got Bruno in the middle.
Yes, indeed. I hope he's enjoying the show. Cheers, Sharky. Class one, mate. Kenny says, evening, lads. Thoughts on playing Trippier as a number 6 and playing Tino right back? Munich moved Kimmich from the right back to a 6, and it worked. Do you know what, though?
I mean, I wouldn't laugh at it, but at the same time, I think I would be a bit of merit.
I think Trips could play there.
When did you try it, though? When did you experiment with it? You know, if he was going to do it, he did it pre-season.
Well, he was experimenting against Liverpool, wasn't he? Because he was coming into that 6th position to get the ball.
Against 10 men,
Wow, he was swapping with Cher. So he got more central passes.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I guess that's up to Eddie Howe at the end of the day, but I don't think he's got any plans to change him out of the right back position at all at the moment anyway. Right, let's bring our next guest on. We've got Paul. Good evening.
Good evening, lads. You all right?
Hello,
yeah,
Paul.
not too bad, buddy. How are you?
Spot on. Just tired from work.
Yeah. Well, I've been stuck in here editing most of the day in this sweltering heat. It's been a nightmare. But anyway, what did you make? What's your thoughts so far on the opening of the season? I mean, we're going to bring these Face the Lads is going to be a weekly thing now. So, I'm getting plenty comments coming in saying it's a really good format, this, and people are enjoying the show. So thank you, everybody. What's your thoughts? Are you worried? Are you not worried? Do you think we'll turn it around? I'm not worried. We've had the hardest start, like, by a significant margin compared to other teams. And we've had pretty similar results and possibly better results. Like, we got absolutely smashed by Man City last season, and we got smashed by Liverpool. And if anything, we've lowered the score lines, so it's an improvement by all accounts from what I'm saying. The only thing, the blip, is Brighton, but that's due to injuries, I think. Were you disappointed against Liverpool that we didn't put them away? Yeah, definitely. We didn't take advantage of the 10 men, and we definitely had the opportunities but like when Darwin come on, he just caught us on the counter really well. He's turned into quite a clinical striker, to be fair.
Darwin. First name basis, yeah.
Well, he has Darwin on his shirt, doesn't he? So, I mean...
I hate it. Yeah. Nunez. Have your surname on the back of your shirt.
It's like Philip Billing at Portsmouth having Philip on the front. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
That's strange.
And he needs a haircut. Anyway, what do you think to all this stuff on social media, Paul, about, Eddie Howe out and things like that? I mean, on my video, I said there's a lot of plastic fans now jumped on the bandwagon since the takeover and just expect success because we've got money. I think a lot of them are fake accounts from opposing teams as well, because you see a lot of them are like just how out. He's made a mistake. The summer's been a 6 out of 10 for signings, and you just think like it's not that bad, and like there's people who's just purely farming for engagement. I think because like I said the other day, Twitter was an absolute cesspit on after the match. Yeah. Even before the match, it was horrible. Like I was trying to be all positive in that, and I was just reading negativity after negativity. I think the problem lies, though, Paul, is that we've said this on a couple of shows, after the game and things like that. That some people can't differentiate between doing a sort of when you're commenting on a match review, giving scores to players or saying somebody didn't play well, to absolutely hating on a player. I've mentioned numerous times that I love Dan Burn as a person and I love what he's done for the football club, but I don't think he's the left back to take us to the next level. It doesn't mean I hate Dan Burn, but he's been poor recently. And we as a channel, we are renowned as a channel for not bullshitting anybody and actually speaking the truth. And I think that's why people respect us a lot, because we don't sort of just say, they played all right, they did this, they did that. We'll call a spade, but that doesn't mean we're hating on the club, and that goes for the fans as well. Yeah, there's a big difference between saying he's shit and not giving any reason for it and just constantly battering that point. You meant to say he's not played well because, and that gives you more of a valid reason to say why he's not had a good game, and it backs up your review as well. But like you say, Dan Burn, he's been used to playing left back for the full season. And you could see for Ferguson's second goal, he kind of just split off from the middle. He kind of like headed back into the left back position, which gave him the space to shoot. Yeah, it's a good point that, because we haven't brought that up actually. That Dan Burn playing all last season at left back, then suddenly being moved to centre back again. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's difficult, especially in the Premier League. You've been playing out as an out and out left back, and then suddenly playing as a centre back. He's bound to be a bit ring rusty. It was like Moses in the Red Sea, honestly, for that second goal. Like, you should have played Lascelles, I think, for that game and kept Burn left back. Yeah. So finally, as I've asked everybody else, Paul, what do you think over the next, over the international break? What do you think Eddie will be doing with himself, thinking to himself, and what he's going to do with the players? Do you think we can turn this around quickly? Yeah, I think so. Like, I think Brentford's definitely a winnable game, especially with Ivan Toney out. I think he's going to just try and bring the intensity back because, like I say, with Brighton were doing quite well to keep away from our pressure. Like I think we did pressure them a few times, but they kept the distance, especially with the passes. Like if they were getting pressed, they would pass it back to the keeper. Then they would like kind of fan out and give themselves some space so they could pass to each other. And they've done really well to keep it away from us, like with that method. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Thanks very much, Paul. As I said, get yourself back on next week. We'll be building up to the Brentford game. So get back on, matey. Thanks for coming on. No bother, mate. Cheers for having us. Take it easy. Good night.
Cheers, Paul.
It's been very, very positive from the people that have been on tonight and in the chat, to be honest. There's a lot of positivity coming around once the dust has settled. And that's good. I mean, we've had Jimmy Bollock and the Plastic Fans, and then people have been coming on with really good points. Next up, we got Connor. Good evening, Connor.
Evening to you, lads. It's a pleasure to be on. I'm fairly new to your channel, I must admit, but I have loved everything I've seen so far. So
thank you very much, buddy. A wee Scotsman, Newcastle fan?
Yes. I, believe it or not, was taken down to Newcastle for the games at high school.
All right.
Went for a number of years in a row. That was at the start of the Ashley era, so you can decide for yourself whether that was a treat or a punishment at the time. But
well, yeah. More of a punishment, I would have thought.
Yeah, but actually, I fell in love with it mainly because of the fan base, and St James's Park was just a brilliant place to be.
So, what's your thoughts on the start of the season then?
Well, it's been rough. I have to hold my hands up and admit and apologise. I have overreacted once or twice because it's just raw emotion. You know, I love the club, so I want us to win. You know, every game we play, like we all do. In the last couple of weeks, you know, the City game, I wasn't expecting anything from that because, you know, it's the hardest game of the season. And to be fair, I'd actually rather get that out of the way nice and early and you don't have to worry about it coming up. But I think it was just the way that we lost the Liverpool game, and then the Brighton game obviously had been a bit disappointing. I think we're sort of suffering a bit from two factors. I think we look a bit more open at the back for some reason than we did last season. Because we had a great defensive record last year. And I think this year it's just been a little bit disjointed. Obviously, Botman's injury didn't help us on Saturday. But I think add to that the fact that in the Liverpool game in particular, we didn't take the chances that we created. And to be fair, I think that's something, if we're being honest, you know, we had probably had too many draws last season because of not taking chances falling our way. So it's a frustration, but you know, when the dust has settled a bit more now, I'm kind of like, well, we come back with, I think, 3 very winnable league games against Brentford, Sheffield United, and Burnley. So I think we'll be okay in the end up. I think we just need to step it up a wee gear now, personally.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Connor makes a good point there. We look back to last season and we think, yeah, there was games where we had opportunities and still didn't put chances away and could have turned those draws into wins. Yeah. At the moment, because we're not putting the chances away, it's turning draws into losses, which is sort of going the other way. But you just think, I mean, Billy, would you put Wilson back in?
I think he has to. I think he deserves it. I think after his goal on Saturday, I think he deserves a start. And it's unfair to keep him on the bench. Mm-hmm. I agree with what Connor said, actually. You know, you take Botman out of the team. He was in the team most last season. Those mistakes weren't happening. Since let's take the Liverpool game. He had one off his arse, which was a total fluke. That wasn't really his mistake. It was a total accident. He had to go off after that. We conceded another one, and we've conceded 3 since, or we've done Burnett centre half. You know, we missed Ben Botman, and he's a massive miss for us. We need to get him back as soon as possible. I don't fancy Brentford with him out the side, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, be a tough game. Will we turn it around quickly, Connor?
I think we will turn it around. Look, the fixture list was the kind to us at the start of the season, was it? You've had 3 of the hardest ties that we could have got to kick off with. 4 really, I suppose, with Villa, because they've actually been in pretty good form since we thumped them. So yeah, of course we'll turn it around. And I think everybody, I can't wait for the Champions League music to be playing out.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's waiting for.
That will be fantastic. And I do think a lot of people said that was a group of death. I actually think if we're at our best, that's a fairly even group. I think we could do okay. I'm not saying we'll win the group, but I think we have a chance of getting out of it, or at the very least, I think dropping into the Europa League would be realistic for us.
Group of dreams for me. The teams that are coming to St James's Park is fantastic. Connor, thank you very much for coming on. We'll see you next time, buddy. Thank you.
Cheers, Connor.
Next up, we have our old friend of the channel, Mr. PD Proudlock.
All right,
Peter.
All right, how are you doing?
We're good. Good. I noticed you were at Brighton on Saturday.
I was, yes.
So what was it like being there? Was it as bad as it looked on the TV?
Oh yeah, was woeful, unfortunately.
Where were we lacking?
Defensively, we're all over the place as well. Some players again just really didn't perform. I've got to say, Bruno has really underperformed so far of late, which is very disappointing. I think Eddie needs to look at the substitutions a bit better as well, because I don't know what Tonali was doing wrong to be taken off. I don't think he's put a foot wrong. Bruno, to me, should be taken off as well. If he's not performing, I think
it's interesting you should say that, Peter.
For who, Pete? Who are you going to bring on
I
Bruno?
think Billy and Alex will firmly disagree with you. I'm with you, but I think Alex might have something to say on that after he's finished his Madly.
So you're in camp incorrect then, are you, Pete, with Paul over there?
Oh, here we go. Get the bloody stakes out. He's off on one.
The fact is, you don't perform. If you don't perform, you don't deserve to stay on the pitch.
But what do you think was wrong with Bruno's performance? What did you see something wrong? Did you see things he wasn't doing correct? Was there something he should have been doing more of? What was the issue with Bruno for you against Brighton?
I think he was a bit slow at times, and I think some of his passing didn't seem to come off at times as well.
What, the 4 out of the 52?
Alex, you have to remember, though, a lot of those were back passes as well to the back four, which were very simple passes. I do need to pull you up on that. There was a lot of back passes to the defenders.
52 passes, only 4 went awry.
You're not going to miss a pass passing the 2 yards to Dan Burn, are you?
Exactly.
Let's
there
be
you
honest.
are.
Yeah, but after 2 minutes, he put a fantastic through ball in free.
That was superb.
It's a key pass after 2 minutes.
Yeah, but that's what we want to see from Bruno, isn't it?
That's what
head
we
up.
want.
Can we stop
before he
putting
receives the
Maxi
ball,
was
ping.
terrible with him? People are proper fishing now. Oh god.
I mean, you're saying about Tonali there, Pete. What do you think about his contribution to Brighton's first goal? It was fucking awful. What it was.
It was
complete abdication of responsibility. It was a lack of bad attitude. You know,
it was, wasn't it?
It was shocking what it was.
Yeah, I mean, look, Peter. Away from all that, I mean, one person that nobody's brought up tonight is our goalkeeper, who hasn't looked great all season.
That is a great point. I agree with that. There are certain players like Bruno being scapegoated when Pope has been poor since day one of the season. To be fair,
I mean, are you worried about his kicking, his catching, Peter? Is that?
It is a little bit. It is a little bit, but hopefully, I can't see why can't Eddie look to sort that out with him. Look how he's improved previously, and it wouldn't surprise me if Eddie's called him a lot of those players into training, particularly this morning or the rest of the week.
Would you take? I mean, is there anybody that you think specifically you'd take out of the side for a game or two, just to mix it up a little bit?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I don't think. I'm looking at Miggy, to be honest. I thought, by that one chance that which deflected, he was all over the place again.
Yeah,
maybe
there is a lot of people saying that right hand side needs adjusting. But
yeah,
listen, I think with Nick Pope though, I think it's installing a little bit of insecurity in the defense. You know, we used to say that about Dubravka and about Carl Darlow, that they weren't vocal enough. Then Nick Pope seemed to be vocal enough, but they were all over the place Saturday. When you've got a goalkeeper who comes out and you don't know if he's going to catch the ball or where the hell his kick's going to go, it's got to be a worry if you're in that back four.
Well, it has, hasn't it? If your defenders aren't helping out as well, what does that say?
Well, for the animals keepers, aren't they? I mean, Nick Pope probably is less secure with Dan Burn and Fabian Schär in front of him than he would have been with Sam Botman and Fabian Schär.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are we going to turn it around, Pete?
Yeah, I can't see why we can't. Eddie will get them laying. The players who aren't going on an international break, and again, there'll be a lot of training there before Brentford as well. So I can't see why can't we. Hopefully, it's just a bit of a kick up the backside for them, and we'll see them get back to the best for Brentford.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for coming on, Peter, and I'll speak to you soon, buddy.
Catch you later.
Good night. So that was Peter.
I've seen him start. I don't need to say anything.
Hang on. We've got a couple of super chats. 12-man Toon, both 1.99 super chats. Thank you very much, buddy. He says, thanks for having me on, lads. Great format. Thank you. We are getting a lot of comments saying it's a much better format, this, and they're really enjoying the show. So that's a real positive. Another one, 1.99 from 12-man Toon says, I personally wouldn't mind starting Dubravka. What is it that used to...
We are giggling at this.
Statistics are all well and good, but don't always tell the true story. Also, in my opinion, Karius is a better all-round keeper than Pope. We are all entitled to opinions. Stu,
We are
absolutely,
indeed.
my friend. You are entitled to your opinion, but you haven't told us why you think Karius is better than Nick Pope. So please do put back, comment again, and put back in. Just don't pay any attention to these two dickheads here. Put back into the chat why you think Karius is better than Pope. Back up your opinion. That's what we want to see. Anyway, next up is Shane. Shane, good evening. You're on mute,
sound, mate.
Johnny. Yeah.
Sorry, hello guys. How are you?
There he is. Not too
Look,
bad. How are you?
the only point I'd make is that I think if you look at Newcastle strategically, 2 years ago we were being relegated, and now all of a sudden we're in Champions League. We're going to be facing AC Milan, Paris Saint-Germain, Dortmund. I think people have to expect a few losses. They have to expect fatigue. They have to expect lower performances, and not just keep expecting progress year on year.
I mean, you're right. I mean, but saying that, even if we don't make the Champions League this season, and we have a decent season, maybe finishing in the top 7, good run in the Champions League, and a couple of good cup runs. I'm not saying we're going to win anything, but it's steady progression again. And like these guys have said, that doesn't stop us bringing in the big stars when we can spend the money on the big stars.
No, but like if you look at, we bet Aston Villa 4-1. Everyone's raving about our success, and then we lost against Man City, Liverpool, and Brighton.
5-1, yeah.
5-1, yeah. So what I'm saying is, you're going to lose against teams like Brighton because realistically, a top 7 would be a good finish for Newcastle.
We got away with it last year against them, to be honest, at the Amex, didn't we? We got murdered for 45 minutes.
I mean, it's 1-1. Yeah, they definitely could have beaten us away last year. It was 1-1. Caicedo had Bruno in his pocket for most of the game. And this was pre-Bruno injury as well. This was when Bruno was playing elite. And I've never seen... I know we laugh at Caicedo at the moment for his performances for Chelsea. However, that game away at the Amex last season, I've never seen anybody have Bruno so controlled than Caicedo did.
Yeah.
It was mental. And we were, Amex away is a hard fixture. I think people are massively underrating Brighton. Brighton are an amazing side. They're one of the best technical teams in the league.
Yeah,
that's what I think as well. I think if you're just being realistic, you have to expect some losses, some loss of form, and then it'll come good for a couple of games. But realistically, like top 6 with Champions League football will be a good finish for Newcastle, and people just need to bear that in mind.
Yeah. Did you notice the lack of intensity at Brighton?
Yeah, but I do wonder sometimes if last season took a lot out of us. When you don't have cup games that you have to win, and you don't have Champions League football, and you don't have. We could have lost against Brighton last year, and people would have just moved on. And all of a sudden, it's like the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like,
yeah.
I think we have to expect the fact that like it's going to be rough and tumble, and it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster. And overall, the quality of the squad, like we might finish 6th playing worse. But having players like Barnes and players like that will mean that even if we play badly, it should be easier to finish in the top 6 rather than have an amazing run and finish top 4.
I mean, Leicester don't say it that way.
Who, sorry?
Leicester wouldn't say it that way.
Well, no, Leicester wouldn't say it that way, but I think we're a different animal to Leicester City, to be honest.
Yeah, we are.
So you're confident of Eddie and the guys turning this round? It's just a minor blip. We get better.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to rethink things over the 2-week break, and maybe dropping players like Tonali or Guimaraes. He's going to have to maybe think about like players like Longstaff are so underrated. Like having the engines, having the passion, and then players like Tonali will come back into it as the season goes on.
Fair enough. Right, thank you for coming on, Shane. Nice to hear you and see you. So come on next time.
Cheers, Shane.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, Shane. We've got a few things to run through here. We've got a new member, which is Magpie Sparky. Welcome to Members Club, Magpie Sparky. Thank you very much for your support, and welcome to the Toon Review family, my friend. Coach Austin, thank you for a $4.99 super chat. He says, don't think no one's mentioned it, but Alex is right about the green kits being camouflage with the grass after Saturday's performance.
I forgot about that. Yeah, thank you for that, and shout out to Śląsk Wrocław as well, the green team from where I lived in Poland.
Yeah,
do
I'm
not wear
sorry.
green kits, guys.
I'm
'cause
sorry.
you can't see where to pass them to.
Hang on, while I clutch at these straws. Come on.
Well, I mean, there's a reason I've not mentioned it. I mean, the first one is because I forgot. The second one is because obviously it didn't really matter that much. But it is a factor. I mean, this is what I mentioned in preseason. My prediction was that we will probably misplace a pass per game, which isn't massive. So, but it does happen because green kits are the wrong color to be playing football in.
I'm prepared to say those 4 misplaced Bruno passes were down to the green shirts.
Oh,
there you go. 100% completion rate with a handicap.
Yeah. Whatever. Jan, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. He says, I would play Sandro centre left midfield, Barnes left wing, Murphy centre right midfield, Gordon right wing, Isak and Wilson up front with Dubravka in goal.
Oh, that's championship standard there.
So, Jan, your midfield, hang on. Whoa. So you're playing 4-4-2 and your 2 midfielders are Tonali Murphy.
Yeah, that seems to be what he's going for. Jan, put in the chat why you do that. What makes you think that would work? Mark Mullins, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. He says, I mentioned Nick Pope on Sunday. He has looked shaky from game 1. His confidence with the ball at his feet is shocking. His positioning has been off. Claiming the ball from corners is way off. Right, we've taken the link down now. We've got 3 more people to come on. I think Annie was there, but he's disappeared.
I'm sorry, for people mentioning Saint Etienne, they got relegated. Thank you.
Yeah. Annie was, but he's disappeared. So we've got 3 more before the end of the show. First one on is Scotty. Scotty, good evening.
Hi, lads. You all right?
We've recovered from the weekend. What are your thoughts on it all?
Yeah, it was a pretty bad performance, but at the end of the day, it's, it was a draw last year and it was a defeat this year. Hopefully we can turn 14 draws last year into 7 wins and 7 draws and a handful of losses. As long as we get the more points at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if that makes any sense at all.
It does, but you don't seem like one of these fans who is screaming for Eddie's head.
Of course not.
I mean, he's got money in the bank anyway, hasn't he, from what he's already achieved?
I do believe it. I do think we need to start Callum Wilson and potentially play him with Isak on the right or the left.
Well, I'll ask you a question, Scotty. Do you think Isak is a striker, or do you think he's a left-sided forward?
I'd say he's left-sided forward because I think he'd play more. Obviously, I know Salah's a right-sided forward, but I think he's got more potential playing out wide and cutting in than he has going through the middle.
I 100% agree with that. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, all the data for his career so far to date is that. There's no, I can't disagree with it because it's just, there's no evidence unless I go with my gut feeling. No, my gut feeling agrees with the data. He looks better off the left.
The thing is, if that is the case, why are we signing left-sided forwards and not another striker?
Well, it might not have been the intention. It might have been, can we progress him as a 9? And again, the system he was dominant in as a left-sided forward. It was in a 2 double-pronged strike partnership. It wasn't in a 4-3-3. So it's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one. I mean, who's disappointed you so far, Scotty? Or are you not worried about anybody? Just a little blip in form and the lads will recover. I mean, are you worried about the lack of intensity that we saw all last season?
Not really. I don't. It'll come. Man City took the intensity out of the game. You can't fault them for that. Lack of intensity against Brighton was the way Brighton played against us.
Yeah.
I don't think we can kind of be faulted that way on. It looked a bit lackluster, and just to kind of, it's probably an excuse, but it was the heating issue at Brighton at the weekend. It was a massive issue last season when we played down there in August for some bizarre reason. But I don't know if that could be a factor in that, in the way we played and the intensity that we pushed on the Brighton. But disappointment-wise, nobody's particularly disappointed. There's Pope maybe. Personally, I wouldn't mind. Not now. I'm not saying like go out in January and get a goalkeeper, but I think it's a position we need to look for in the maybe next 2 to 3 windows because we need a keeper that's going to be able to play with his feet.
There is a lot of reports today regarding David De Gea.
He's worse with his feet than bloody Pope is.
Well,
I'll take Kasper Schmeichel.
yeah, I like Schmeichel. I have to say,
I'd take
I still
Schmeichel
think
in a
he's got a
heartbeat.
bit left as well. He's a confident goalkeeper. But it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, last year we were praising Nick Pope to the hill. I mean, having said that, there was always a worry, Scotty, about his kicking, wasn't there?
Yeah, to be honest, I've still got all confidence in the world in Nick Pope. I think the first half of last season we had more of a defensive mindset in our gameplay. To then, when the second half of the season was when we started to open up and put 4 or 5 past teams, but that then left us more vulnerable at the back. When fair enough, we were only ever conceding 1 goal a game, but it was down to a system change. And even this season, we've only conceded. Yeah, I know we got battered at the weekend, but prior to that, and then whatever happened against Liverpool happened against Liverpool. Then 2 shots against the Nunez shots were exquisite, bottom left corner both times. I don't think any keeper in the world is going to save them. I'm being perfectly honest, but
yeah. So you're not panicking yet, no?
Nah, not at all. I don't think there's a reason to panic. I don't know why anybody would panic. Like, look at last season. We beat Forest last season, first game of the season, which is great, fantastic. I think we went on to draw 5, 6, 7 games after that.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Scotty, brilliant call, mate. Thank you very much for the positivity, and get yourself back on.
Nice one. Cheers, lads. Have a good evening.
Good night, mate. Take care. That was Scotty. Mrs. Toon Review says, fingers crossed that we get into the Football Content Awards. I want to see Paul in a suit. Billy, don't say a word.
I'm not saying a freaking word.
Don't say a word.
I was gonna say something nice. I was gonna say we need to get the Blazers with their black and white inside lining, like Mr. Chairman has.
Definitely. Yeah, yes, that would be spectacular, to be honest.
I have bought a suit, strange enough.
You've bought one, have you?
Wow. We got enough votes. So if anybody in the chat is a tailor, yes, black and white inside lining for Blazers.
Absolutely. We are always open for freebies on the Toon Review. We're certainly not proud not to say so. Johnny Boy, thanks for your £5 super chat, bud. Does Eddie need to work on the player's mindset during the break?
Potentially, I think he does it all of the time anyway.
Yeah,
I think it's something that's ongoing constantly.
Right, we got 2 left, and the penultimate guest is DJ. Good evening.
All right, boys, how's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Obviously, a little bit disappointed, should we say, at the very least, about the weekend. But yeah, you've probably seen a couple of my comments about just wanted some aggression, wanted some fight, but unfortunately, again, it was a little bit stale, a little bit.
Why do you think that was lacking, DJ?
I to be honest, I totally don't know. I think it's just like I know obviously Billy disagreed with this, but I just think we're a little bit too predictable. I think he's played the same starting 11 pretty much since the start of last season. Or give or take a few changes here and there, but I just think we need to spice things up a little bit now. I think we need to. I think I'd said last time, try a double pivot midfield. I think we missed the mark with Madison. I think Madison would have been unbelievable for us. I think him sitting in the gap behind Isak would have been a nightmare for any team to play against. But I know a lot of it comes down to recruitment, how much we can afford to pay for certain players, and there's a lot of different factors that went into it and stuff like that. But yeah, I just think we missed the boat a little bit with potentially getting a 10, because I can't remember the last time we had a 10 that just unlocked defenses. It's been a long time since we've seen that. So
we literally just sold one, but yeah.
Well, I'll give you Maxi, and Maxi, don't get me wrong.
We didn't play him there, Alex, so we can't class him as a 10.
I know, but he wore the number 10. He could play as a 10, and he could unlock defenses. There was questions over him.
Yes, but the problem is, Alex, and we know this, that Maxi would unlock the defense and then screw it up with his final ball more than he did create a goal.
And incidentally,
Murphy has, but Murphy's
whoever had
still
68 minutes in the Maxi sweepstake, that's the winning number.
Somebody needs to just control Alex at times, because once he starts getting Maxi in his head, it's
all right. Let me throw an interesting query out here. Right, we brought on players like Barnes, things like that, to try and work predetermined passing sequences and plays. In the last 3 fixtures, it would have been really nice to have a random player to come on who was a little bit more unpredictable, that
Random,
wouldn't
but I
have
think
wouldn't have
everybody knows who you're
adhered to
talking
these
about, Alex.
passing sequences and would have just gone at defenses. It's
With a
always
bit- with
good
a
to
bit of
have
pace.
one in the team with a bit of pace. It would have been helpful, in my
Yes,
opinion.
it would have
I'm
been
not saying he
helpful.
deserves to
Oh,
start,
let's
but-
take 25 players on, do a Michael Jackson few step overs, and then not create a chance. I'm sorry, but no.
I mean, he got 5 assists last year, so he definitely created some chances.
5 assists. Yeah. 12-man Tunes, thank you for another 199. He says Maxi is the worst tricky French winger we've had.
Overton.
That
He
is
wasn't-
true.
He wasn't
Overton
tricky.
was
He was just shite.
terrible.
I mean, come on.
Cabela, Tovan. Fucking hell, there's loads of them.
Tovan went on to big things, Billy. He just got managed wrong.
It was shit for us.
So did that other one, Cabela. He was a good player and all. Anyway, DJ, what do you think will happen after the international break? Has it come at the right time for us?
It depends how we look at it, because I think a lot of our first 11 now are internationals as well. So how much, I think Eddie said it in his interview, like how much can he actually work with them to change anything, or like I say, maybe spice up things a little bit. But I think hopefully it'll get the fitness of Hall and maybe Livramento up a little bit more to potentially utilise them and just give a different look to Brentford, because I think Brentford is the game where I think they'll come and try and attack us at like St James's Park. I don't think they're just going to sit off us. So I think it could be a good game to, I think you said, Alex, last time with you, a sort of 5-6 goal sort of scoreline. So I think that might be a good game. And I think we battered them last season at home. So I think it could potentially be either a fantastic performance or the other way, and we could get turned over again if we're not careful.
If Botman's not fit, DJ, and we have to play Lascelles and Byrne, and Cher's not fit, obviously, are you still as confident?
Definitely not. I'm not going to lie. Like, I know what you said the other day, Billy, about Byrne, but I'm past the Dan Byrne playing at the back for us now. I am. I really, really am. And same as Matt Target. Like, don't get me wrong. I know what everyone said about, like, you know, not wanting to fully slay players, but I just think, the guy. I don't know if you remember against Man City, I think it was, where he tried to tuck in tight and he got turned. And he was like, it was literally like the slowest turn I think I've ever seen a footballer do in my life.
But you're not hating on him, DJ. It's just
No,
a
no,
fact.
not
You know,
at all.
there's only a standard that Dan Burnt can go to, and now we're looking for that next level player, aren't we?
Devil's advocate, Brentford are they're an enormous set piece team. They're set piece merchants. So in theory, Lascelles and Dan Burn, much of a problem at defending set pieces?
Dan Burnt doesn't win a lot in the air.
They do have some pace, don't they? You know,
I mean, he
the
does.
Vermoos.
That's not true.
Oh, come
The
on.
Vermoos, the Whisters,
He gets knocked around.
Chargers,
For a big man, he gets knocked around too much, in my opinion. But look,
we'll check. We'll fact
Oh, Alex,
check
I don't
that.
care
So
about
Dan
the stats.
Burn-
It's- I'm
I
there,
don't
I'm
care
watching-
about the truth. I just want
No,
only
nah.
opinions.
Anyway,
Right, Aerial
DJ,
Jules
thank you for
won.
coming on, buddy.
Whoa. Aerial Jules won for
hang
Dan
on a minute.
Burn.
He just want before you go, DJ. Here he is.
99th
His stakes are out.
percentile for aerial. Dan Burn is in the top 1% in Europe for Aerial Jules 1.
Yes, and I'm also a wind-up merchant, Alex, and it worked a treat.
I was gonna
Right,
say he
DJ,
scored-
thank you.
scored one header as well, by the way, Alex.
Well, yeah, he's
Well,
not
he's
very good
crap
at the other end, is he?
offensive headers, yeah, but defensive headers, he is in the
You've
top
got to
1%
wonder
in
that
Europe.
why they're so good at heading at the back and they can't get on the end of crosses. It's bizarre.
Botman's the same though.
Botman, yeah.
Botman. The
Shares
amount
the
of
same.
times he. Well, yeah, we should have had an extra 8 or 9 goals last season from centre halves.
Absolutely. Listen, DJ, thanks for coming on, matey. Been a pleasure.
lads.
We'll catch you next time, buddy.
Cheers, DJ.
Good night. That was DJ. And our final guest, well, I mean, he's a legend of the channel from years ago. This man's opinions stretch the imagination to the far sides of the galaxy. Some of his opinions have bordered on me having heart attacks in the past, but we haven't seen him in a long time. It is Level 7 Dave.
Hey, hi, David.
Mate.
How are you doing?
All right, I was down there on Saturday.
Oh, you were down there as well, were you?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
I would drop Burn for a start.
Uh-huh.
I'm past having Burn in the back four.
Yeah, seems a few people are.
I would drop Pope.
You would drop him?
I would drop him. I would drop him completely. I think he's shot. His confidence are shot. After after the Liverpool handball. I think it's made him worse than what he was.
Do you think that operation on his stomach stopped him from catching the ball? Because that's my opinion. I think he doesn't catch the ball anymore. He palmed everything away, everything.
But
is that because he's still injured, Billy, or do you think it's because
I think he's got a confidence issue?
He's just worried about it going again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would rather have Karius there
instead of Dubravka.
Yeah, I don't rate Dubravka either.
Right. So where else do you think? I mean, obviously intensity wasn't there on Saturday, but you know we sort of lacking in taking chances. Where do we improve going forward?
I would say the double pivot with I think it's Isaac in the middle, running through the middle, and I would have Barnes on one side and Gordon on the other.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. But what about Callum Wilson? Is it because we spoke about,
I think
Isak, and is he a left-sided forward, or do we play an out-and-out striker like Callum?
Yeah, but I think Callum Wilson's got more fire in his belly when he comes off the bench.
Interesting. Would that not run his confidence down over the season, though, if he was always on the bench?
It's an option. You could rotate. You could rotate him with Isaac and have Isaac on the bench and coming off.
Interesting. Alex, what do you reckon?
About which bit?
Well, his front line.
What did he say the front line was? He said he's going to keep Wilson on the bench.
Have you
and
got
use
bloody
Isak.
headphones on or not?
Yes. What was your front line again?
Isak, Barnes and Gordon on the right.
What? Barnes through the middle or
Like
Isak
a double
through the
pivot.
Isak through the middle, Alex. Barnes on the right, Gordon on the
Isak.
left.
I was going to say.
Isaac through the middle.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna change it, play Wilson. But then at the same time, there's the argument that you can't have all of your strikers on the pitch at the same time because Gordon is theoretically the third. It's tricky because if Gordon's third choice striker and you play Isak left, Wilson central, then those are your three centre forwards on at the same time. So you can obviously bring wingers on, but then if stuff goes down the toilet injury wise, it could get real bad real quick. So the same. I know we've got quite a lot of players in forward areas. However, if we start playing silly buggers with formations, then the same sort of that's going on at centre half could be true at centre forward. Wilson, we've been quite fortunate in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. We've had a lot of availability from him, more than we expected. I did say that he would be fine if his minutes were managed, but his minutes are being managed. But if we get unfortunate with Isak and Wilson this season, where it's going to be a long old season, especially with the additional fixtures.
And another thing I got frustrated with on Saturday is he takes up Tonali once he's had a brilliant second half. You start to control the game, and he takes him off.
There's been a lot of comments about that. I think you learn from it. Yeah,
you could have took off Bruno.
Well, I think he'll learn from it. But listen, you confident, Dave? They're going to turn it around?
I can see him turning it around. Yeah. We need to start leaving Tonali on a little bit longer.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for coming on, Dave. Good to see you. Stay healthy, my man.
Yeah.
Good night, buddy.
See you, buddy.
Good night.
So there we go, guys. That is it for Face the Lads, the first ever Face the Lads. We've had a very, very positive show tonight. Lots of positivity about the new format in the chat as well. So thank you very much. We're pleased you've enjoyed it. It does work better. That it's much better. And you get everybody's opinion rather than talking over each other and things like that. But listen, it's going to come back every week now. We'll be talking about the game that's past, the game that's coming up. So it'll be as usual. The format will be the same moving forward. We've got other shows planned as well, or in the making and things like that. So we hope you'll enjoy them as well. Just to shake it up a little bit. But thank you to everybody for your super chats and new memberships. Welcome everybody to the Toon Review. Thank you to the mods again. Brilliant job. Billy and Alex, thank you. Thank you to all our guests on the show tonight. You've all been brilliantly and fabulously positive, which is great after the weekend we've just had. So well done, everybody. But again, thank you to you guys out there for keep coming back and giving us your support. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully with a guest. So stay on the notifications. But we'll be back anyway at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So we hope you've enjoyed the show. Hit that like button before you leave, guys. Very important to the channel. And of course, don't forget, if you're new, come and be part of the community. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any future videos. But in the meantime, hang on a minute. We've just got one little comment there that I want to read out from Dave Bullman. He's been a member for 13 months. Best of luck on the votes, lads. Channel deserves to go to the finals. Maybe the Champions League coming up affecting us like Carabao Cup final. Maybe. But thank you, everybody. We will see you soon. Have a good night and enjoy this Indian summer. Take care. See you soon.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check out some green.